Welcome to QSR Nation, your weekly dose of food service marketing tips and business strategies for success. Here's your hosts, Josh Anderson, Beth Oots, and Anthony Pierce from the PFSbrands National Headquarters.
Hey everybody, welcome back to QSR Nation. As always, we have Josh, Beth, and Tony here from the PFSbrands National Headquarters to talk about food service marketing and business strategies for success. Today we have John Bleidistel, the Director of Technology here at PFSbrands, to really tell us how you can secure your location physically and operationally. John, you want to give us a little about your background to start off with?
I've been with PFSbrands for over 8 years. Before that, I was an IT consultant for about 11 years. With various other companies here in Missouri. So kind of doing a little bit of everything, including networking, security, and server operations. So,
well, we appreciate everything that you do here for PFSbrands and keeping us secure in our technology, because obviously that's something that we're on the forefront of, and we want to be a part and ahead of all of our competitors when it does come to technology. So what are some of the things that you would recommend for some of our retailers and any business out there just about some basic store security?
Well, just mainly common sense. With any store, you're going to have a certain percentage of your customer traffic is going to be of a certain type that may not be ethical. So there is always a danger of something getting stolen. So as far as phones, tablets, or anything like that, or computers, make sure that they are in a place where a customer cannot access them when somebody's back's turned, and because stuff will eventually get stolen if you're not careful. So mainly just common sense. Don't leave things laying around that are very portable.
That's a very rosy disposition on humanity.
It is.
Tell us some more positive things.
I'm a realist.
A realist, yeah.
Well, and honestly, on that side of the business, you really have to be. I mean, you see the stats. You know the percentages are out there. People, whether it's trying to hack a phone or get access to a company's database for credit card issues.
Right. So there's that whole hacker kind of mentality, but also with Craigslist and eBay and things like that, things can easily be sold for money before you'd even know to look for them on there. That whatever was taken that day could be sold that afternoon. So it's just the environment we live in.
So I guess you always just be vigilant. Is there any tools you can use, like block boxes, I guess, all that kind of stuff?
There are security cables that they sell for devices. I can't think of the name of the exact lock standard, but there is a slot in most devices that is designed for cables that are readily available on Amazon or other locations that you can tether the device to an anchor point, whether you screw it into the bottom of a counter or something like that. So that's kind of a pretty simple way, and even though somebody could eventually get that broken off by that time, they've made a scene, and that's it.
Well, just teaching your employees about the safety of just being online and any kind of that online activity. I know that you guys do a lot here about, sending us emails to kind of see what kind of reaction we will have if it isn't, if it's an incorrect email or if it is a spamming kind of email or they're phishing for information. What can people do out there to kind of just get up to speed with all of that knowledge and making sure that they're staying on top of it themselves and teaching their employees about just internal emails?
Well, the best way to look at email is consider everything suspect. Again, I'm a realist because I see it every day, but if you recognize somebody and you regularly interchange emails with each other, then that's one thing. But if you get an email that seems to be kind of odd or out of the blue, that is most likely coming from is simply just spam, or there could be some kind of malicious intent there with a virus or some kind of malware. The big thing making the rounds right now is ransomware, which is a malware that will encrypt all your files in your hard drive, but still leave your PC operational, so they can give you an avenue of paying a ransom, at which usually averages between $250 and $500, that they will then send you a key to decrypt all your files. So it's actually happened to tens of thousands of businesses across the world, and so there's a huge monetary loss with ransomware. So the best way to avoid that is to not open emails that are suspect. You get an email that says it's an invoice, or it's a past due invoice, or it's a shipping confirmation, and if you didn't ship something or you don't recognize the company that's sending you this invoice, then most likely they're just trying to get you to click on something, and that's when their software will do its thing. And no matter what kind of antivirus you have, you're still vulnerable, because as soon as you actually double click on a file attachment or click on a link, you've actually done a user action, they call it, which most antiviruses are designed to allow because they don't want to get in the way of normal computer operations. So if you double click on something, the antivirus is going to think you meant to do that, even if you don't realize what you're doing.
And with the holiday season coming up, a lot of times, especially, you get a lot of emails from big box stores offering different discounts. And if it's too good to be true sometimes, and they're asking you for your information, just remember it's probably not legit, because it is too good to be true.
Well, one of the things that you guys, stress with us is when you get those types of influxes and you just aren't sure, to hover over the actual email address to see, if it's coming from, a name you might even recognize. What's that email look like?
Right. So an email that has links in it, the way most email programs work is if you hover your mouse over it, like you said, it'll pop up a little box that shows literally where that's going to go if you click on that link. So something that says ups.com, if you hover over it, might say daveshardware.br. And BR right there, if it has that, let's use that example of a URL, that's a Brazilian address. Obviously, it's not something you would normally, that UPS would be using. So right there, if it doesn't match what the link says, that's your first clue that it's a bad email.
And there's some great, tools. I know we have a company that we use here to help kind of keep us on our toes as well. And would you recommend, other sorts of companies look out for having those things to keep their employees good and vigilant with their email usage and online usage?
Yeah, there for medium-sized companies there are some services we use KnowBe4, which is a company that will they'll help you design a kind of a test, a phishing test they call it, that will test your employees to see who will click on something. And the emails are always different. Some have links, some have attachments. Some are telling you you've got a gift card, you just got to click here and sign in. And invariably, we almost always have people that click on these and they put in their login credentials for Amazon or something like that. And the whole thing was just a test, and it just shows that how easy people can get fooled in today's technology.
Yeah, like you said multiple times, you can have the best security in the world. It's the people are the main security. So if you're going on clicking links because you got $10,000 from the King of Zimbabwe, there's nothing.
Is that not real? Is that not real?
Don't click it.
Oh, the princess sent me money though. I'm just saying.
The biggest vulnerability any store or company or business has is its employees. Because there's that human factor, and like I said, if they click on something, an antivirus can't stop that, a firewall can't stop that. So you could have all the security in the world, but if you have an employee that doesn't understand the risks and they just click on every email they get, then you've got a potential problem.
Another thing, and we talked about it a little bit earlier about making sure things are kept out of play to kind of move on a little bit, but I know we ship a lot of things out. A lot of stores they're receiving things from FedEx, UPS, US, Postal Service, DHL, whoever. They're bringing all these in. They're coming through the front doors. What do you recommend as kind of a protocol, because it's busy, things are going on, and you've got a carrier there dropping off packages? Because there's a lot of things that get delivered that could be picked up by one of those unethical consumers and walked right out the door.
Right. Probably the best way to handle that is to have a designated area for these drop-offs, and train all your employees on where that is, and also train the carrier, because typically the FedEx driver or the UPS driver or the mailman is going to be the same person mostly. And so once they get a feel for, we always put boxes on this back counter or something like that, then they get into a pattern of that. And if they do leave it on the front counter, the employees know to direct them to put it on the back counter. That way it prevents boxes from being left unattended on a counter, because we know everyone's in a hurry. So the best way to manage that is to just have a designated spot that doesn't take any more time. It's just as a safer place.
Sure. The common sense, like you said, rule one. So that'd be the best advice you probably give, and make sure that you're just being vigilant. And
employee education of employees, like I said, on the package location is paramount, and that also translates back to the email thing we were just talking about. Training your employees. There's plenty of online information out there about how to recognize a phishing attack or bad emails. So even without paying for a full managed service like we do, you can on a very light budget, just have your employees read certain articles about just staying current on email threats and virus threats. So
That's awesome.
Education.
Great.
So yeah, John, why don't you just come back next week for to talk about in-store technology? I don't care if you say no or yes, you're coming back.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And everybody, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at mdf@pfsbrands.com. And for Josh, Beth, Tony, and John, we'll talk to you next week.
Stop by next week for another QSR Nation episode or visit pfsbrands.com.